If you watch the NBA, I'm sure that you have a favorite player or some players that you enjoy watching over others. There's no way that you like every single star that others like. I'm sure you think that some are overrated and others are underrated. Why do we innately gravitate to some players over others? Well, it might be because of what it is that makes each NBA star so different, so great, or what their archetype is. So in today's video, I'm doing something a little bit different. I classified every single star superstar in the NBA into archetypes or playstyles, and I came up with 8 different categories that we'll go through in this video describing every single NBA star. So leave a like, subscribe, and let's get into the very first category. The very first category I have for you guys is athletic slasher. These are guys like Scottie Barnes, Jimmy Butler, Jaylen Brown, John Morant, Zion, and J-Dub. These are those guys that can thrive around getting to the basket or around the rim, but they can also dunk on you at any moment. They can obviously shoot because they're superstars or stars, but that's not why their game sticks out. Their game sticks out because we see them as this raw potential coming into the league, and they eventually turn their athleticism and raw potential into an athletic slasher. I sort of think of this archetype, especially with Jaylen Brown as an example, as explosive and high energy players that are going to get to the basket with their athleticism, and they're going to finish that play with, say, dunks or with creative layups around the rim or and ones through contact. And so shooting is sort of secondary for them. They're going to try to hit the shot in order to keep the defense honest, but that's not the key characteristic of their game. The key characteristics of their game is being aggressive towards the rim and finishing. Alright, so those were the athletic slashers, and my second category is clutch foul baiters. Now I know this one is a bit controversial, and I don't mean this in a bad way. Yeah, I don't enjoy watching fouls being baited for by certain players, but I do recognize that it is a part of the game, and it is an important skill to have if you're going to score a lot of points in the NBA and be crafty at scoring for your team. And so they also called it clutch, because a lot of these guys are clutch scorers because they know how to get to the free throw line, how to score in these clutch moments, and they're also some of the most clutch scorers in the game. They just happen to be. So the guys that I have in this category are SGA, of course. You probably already knew that when I said the name of the category. I have Luka, I have Austin Reeves, well, I'm sorry, 2 Lakers in the clutch foul baiter category. It's not a bad thing, I promise. And James Harden. And yes, while they do foul bait, and this is one of the things that I don't really enjoy watching, and so I wouldn't say that this is my favorite archetype. That's going back to what I said at the beginning of the video. We have certain players that we like to watch and certain players that we don't like to watch. And for me personally, I'm not a huge fan of watching the players that foul bait. Now, I'm not saying that Shea, James Harden, Luka, Austin Reeves only foul bait. Obviously, they wouldn't be great if they were only foul baiting. That's an important skill to have, as I said. And they're also really super clutch players as well. Austin Reeves, maybe not so much, but he sort of fell into that foul baiting category that I saw him in. But Luka, Shea, James Harden, definitely one of the most clutch players in the league. And then the third category I have now is the crafty creators. And this is the category of guys that are going to be able to not only create shots for others, but they also are going to get their own buckets through crafty and shifty moves. These are often your undersized guards, so the first guy that comes to mind is Jalen Brunson, but also shifty guards like LaMelo Ball, who obviously isn't undersized. There's Cade, who's going to play at his own pace. These are guys that are going to play at the pace of the game that they feel is best for them. Obviously, Tyrese Halliburton, get well soon, is a guy that also comes to mind, and then Kyrie also, who's injured right now, get well soon as well. The next category I have, the fourth category, is explosive shooter, and these are the archetypes of guys that can get hot super easily. They can catch fire, and that's what makes it so much fun to watch. I'm not talking about the Steph Currys, which will be another category later in this video that you will see, but we do have guys like Donovan Mitchell, Desmond Bane, Tyrese Maxey, Trae Young, Jamal Murray, and Damian Lillard. Get well soon as well, Dame. It was amazing to watch you win that 3-point contest, but we know that these guys can absolutely shoot the ball, and they're explosive because they can also get to the rim on that first step, and they can also dunk on you, some of them as well. Our next category is also one of my favorites, and that's the midi assassin. And I kind of didn't want to limit this to midi assassin because some of these guys are not pure mid-range shooters and they just know how to get to their spot. So that's what I was trying to get with this archetype, was guys that can get to their spot and they're absolutely cash money from that spot. And some of these guys have some of the prettiest jump shots in the league. So for example, if I thought about Klay Thompson, I would have put him as a midi assassin. Obviously, he's not a star or a superstar anymore. And I don't think he was ever a superstar, but you get the point. He's not a good player really anymore. But he was some guy that I thought of as getting to a spot and being able to really have enough confidence to know that, yes, if I take the shot from this spot, I'm going to make it. And obviously we know that Klay Thompson is more than a mid-range shooter. He was an amazing, prolific 3-point shooter, one of the best 3-point shooters in NBA history. And so That's why I was saying that this archetype is not limited to mid-range shots. It's just they have a pure jump shot, basically. The guys that I have in this category are Brandon Ingram, BI, Kawhi Leonard, who's one of my favorite players to watch in the league and who's been absolutely hooping as of late, De'Aaron Fox, KD, and Devin Booker, and also Anthony Edwards. We're getting to the end here, but the next category is polished bully. And so the way that I named this one was I want to start with guys that have the strength that are going to bully you in the paint, and so that's where I got the bully from. But they're also polished because they can shoot and they've developed that part of their game over time. And so the first guy that I thought of that honestly helped me come up with this name is Jason Tatum. Welcome back, Jason Tatum. Pascal Siakam was also one of those guys that I think of as a polished bully. And then I have a big guy, Bam, the 83-point scorer. And then we have Paolo Banchero, Franz Wagner, basically the two Orlando Magic players, LeBron, obviously Julius Randle as well. The seventh category is post dominator, and obviously pretty self-explanatory. These are players that are going to thrive in the post, in the paint, mostly big guys, probably all big guys, honestly. They have that finesse around the rim, and obviously they could still shoot and do other things, but their main presence is going to be being a hub in the paint. So the guys in this category are Joel Embiid, who obviously has not played a lot this season, so whether you still consider him a star/superstar, he was the MVP of our league. Anthony Davis, Jalen Duren, Sabonis, Alperen Şengün or Baby Jokic, and Jaren Jackson Jr. And then the very last category that I have for you guys today is the unicorns. These are guys that excel at this very one skill or are known for it, and they became known for it over time, over their careers, or they're just like Victor Wembanyama and they're so freakishly tall that you can't really do anything to stop them. So Victor and Chet are part of that category. Jokic is part of that category of being an absolutely one-of-one type player with his passing ability and with his ability to just impact the game the way that he does. Steph Curry with his three-point shooting obviously changed the game. Giannis, bulldozer who nobody can ever stop, and Kat, who's one of the best big man three-point shooters in NBA history, at least according to him. Okay, so that is all 8 NBA archetypes that I've come up with to classify every single star/superstar in the NBA into. Agree with it or disagree with, let me know down in the comments below what your favorite archetypes to watch are. Like the video, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.